Buon pomeriggio, I'm cooking for Valentine's today and my next dish is going to be cannelloni, but I will be using pancakes instead of the normal pasta, just to introduce a slightly different variation, but also I'll be doing something slightly different with my bechamel sauce. So if you've made cannelloni before, great, but if you want to make it this way, by all means, watch the video and hopefully you will enjoy it. The first thing I'll make a sauce, and I've already got some vegetables ready. I've got a carrot, a stick of celery and an onion. I will be doing this really fine because they will go inside the cannelloni and I want to make sure that they're not very big. I always leave the onion for last so that any waterworks are left for the end and I can wash the board very quickly. So we're about to make our sauce and I'll start by pouring a little olive oil in a pan. Once the oil is nice and hot, add your chopped vegetables. I will give them a gentle mix and I'll let them sizzle for 4 or 5 minutes with the lid on, but I will be turning the temperature down onto a medium heat now. In the meanwhile, I'll be chopping a little rosemary, which is from my garden, freshly picked. This is again optional. I love rosemary, as you might have already gathered from some of my other videos, and I add it in a lot of my dishes. But if you wanted to, you could add oregano instead. Excellent, everything is going nicely, and I will be adding my rosemary next. There. I will also be adding a bay leaf, also from my garden. And immediately after I will be adding a half a kilo of beef mince. As you add the beef mince, turn the temperature slightly up onto a medium high. It's now been sizzling for approximately 5 to 6 minutes, and I am trying to really make the mince as small as possible, so using my wooden spoon and just pushing it down really. Also, there is a little bit of water and fat here which needs to effectively go before we can continue. As I'm making cannelloni, I want the sauce to be fairly dense, and you might also want to do the same if you're making cannelloni with pasta, because at the contrary to lasagna, when you're making cannelloni you want the sauce to stay inside your tube. Great, all of my water has gone, and at this point is when I'm going to be adding 125 milliliters of white wine. You can also use red wine if you like. That is approximately half a glass. Within a couple of minutes the alcohol has evaporated, and now I'm now going to add 500 milliliters of passata. I'm going to use only passata and only 500 milliliters. Because again, I want the sauce to be quite thick. As a rule of thumb, if I'm making cannelloni, I will be using 100 milliliters of passata for 100 grams of minced beef. Any more and it will be too liquidy. And also I will be adding a little tomato paste. I've got the last left of this tube, so I might just as well put it in, but approximately half a spoon will be plenty. As your sauce reaches the boil, put some peas in. This is 100 grams of frozen peas. I'm using petit pois today, but you can use any peas you wish. A little salt, some pepper, quantity to taste. Turn the temperature to a simmering point. In my case it's number 3 out of 9. Place the lid on and let it simmer for a good 10 minutes. Okay, after 10 minutes I will take a look, and it's a little bit more liquidy than I would like it to be, so I'm going to now leave it for a further 5 to 7 minutes maybe without the lid on. Wonderful, that is more like it. The sauce is ready, just the right thickness. I will turn it down and I will let it cool down now for the next 10 to 15 minutes while I'll get on with the crepes. So 125 grams of plain flour, a couple of eggs, 300 milliliters of milk, and some salt I've got here also. I'll break in a couple of eggs, and I'll start by adding a couple of tablespoons of flour and mix it with a whisker. I would avoid using an electric whisker, by the way, because it will create too much air, and then your crepes will be very, very thick. So just take your time and do it by hand. Of course, if you want to use an electric whisker, by all means. As your flour gets absorbed by the eggs, add some more. As it's getting a little bit difficult, I will be adding a little milk next. In goes the rest of my flour, and I will gradually start adding the remaining milk. I always leave the milk for last, just in case it's going to be too liquidy, so I can adjust it accordingly. It's looking good. I will put a pinch of salt and one final mix. I will also be adding a tiny little amount of olive oil to ensure that the batter doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pan. Again, if you are an expert in making crepes, you might be skilled enough not to need it, but I don't make them very often, so I don't want to really risk it. And now we move on to making some crepes. Pour a little amount of olive oil in a hot pan, not too hot. You need to be medium to high, not absolutely piping hot, and using some tissue paper, which you need to keep, as this paper will be used in between each individual crepe. Just give it a little wipe and keep the paper. Before we make our first crepe, we'll do a little test with some of the butter. Within 30 seconds you should see that everything is okay, and it's turned nicely, so I think we're good to go. Again, being the first one, using a ladle, I will see how it goes in terms of going on the pan, and it should just nicely cover the entire area without too much fuss. Can you see that it's struggling a little? That is because most probably needs a little bit more milk. So as a tester, I'm learning that although this is going to be okay, and I'm going to be adding a little bit more so that we can use it, I'm going to be adding a little bit more milk to the paste. As the edges start curling up, you can turn it around. And you should get a nice little golden color like this one underneath. Great, now that we've done the first one, we can move on to the second crepe, and having corrected the batter, we should be good to go for good. You can see that it's much easier now that I've added a little bit more milk, and we will leave it for 1 to 2 minutes. Remember to keep the temperature on a medium heat, medium to high, and keep an eye on the crepes as you make them, just in case that they are too hot and that they could burn. Perfect. When you turn them around, they do not need more than 20 to 30 seconds. Great, they're all done. I've made 9 altogether, which is quite good. Bear in mind that the pan was fairly large. And I can move on to the bechamel sauce, which is the next part of the recipe. Okay, this is a very simple way to make bechamel sauce. I've got a half a liter of milk, and I will be adding 50 grams of plain flour. 49, I'm happy with that. If you've seen any of my videos before, most probably you've seen this already, but I'm actually doing it for any new viewers. I'll add a little pinch of salt, and using a long handled teaspoon, I will just mix it while it's all cold. Next, I will add a little nutmeg. One more stir to ensure that everything is dissolved, although if it isn't, don't worry, because everything is cold and it will be fine. And pour it in a pan while everything is cold. Turn the heat up high and start stirring it. As it's a small amount of milk, it will come to the boil fairly quickly, so keep an eye on it and wait until you start getting a few little bubbles on the side. Great, if you look carefully, the milk is beginning to boil and a few little bubbles are appearing, and also the sides are beginning to bubble up. So continue mixing and leave it on the hob for a further 30 seconds, but turn it down. Once you start getting nice and thick, remove it from the hob and just stir it for another 20 seconds. And there you have it. You got a nice thick bechamel sauce ready for our cannelloni. And this is the same sauce I would make if I was to make a lasagna. Great, we are about to start putting the cannelloni together, and I'm going to show you my setup. I've got my tomato sauce here and the bechamel over there. I've got some ham ready, some Parmesan cheese, there are the lovely crepes we just made, and I've also chopped some mozzarella. So let's start putting them together. First job is to remove the bay leaf, which I forgot. There you go. That won't be very pleasant. So I place a crepe on my board. I put a slice of ham. This is my variation, by the way. And this is why it's so important for the sauce to be quite thick. So a little sauce on the top. And I'll put a little mozzarella. Then, quite simply, just roll it. As the sauce is nice and cold now, you will not be burning your hands. Place it in an oven dish container, there, so that you can see it, and we'll move on and do it again. And rolling. And in it goes. After the first layer, I've put some bechamel sauce on top, and I sprinkle some Parmesan cheese before I start again. You can also choose to put some Parmesan inside the cannelloni as you are making them, but I didn't bother because there is the mozzarella there, and I think there is enough going on as it is. As you build the second layer, place each cannelloni in the same direction as the previous layer, so that they're going to be easier to serve later. Perfect, the second layer is also complete. If, like me, you've got a little sauce left, just put it on top. It's not going to do any harm at all. If you do not have any sauce left, do not worry, it's also okay. One further sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. And last but not least, we will be adding the rest of our bechamel sauce. With the help of a spoon or a spatula, whatever you're using, spread it evenly across your dish. And there it is. I will be putting this in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes at 180 degrees, bearing in mind that everything is cooked as well. And the first 15 minutes I'll put some tin foil on top, and then I will be removing for the last 10 minutes. So I'll see you in a little while. Great, it's ready, and ironically, my lovely wife has just arrived. That must have been the smell, Julie.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I'm just trying to see the direction of the cannelloni. I think they are that way, aren't they? remember. Yeah, they are. Okay, I have let it rest for a couple of minutes.
Tell? No, no way at all.
No, I forgot. Yeah, that was right. That way. So I'll cut a portion by slicing through a couple of cannelloni. I'll try my best to get it out in one piece.
Ooh, look at that.
There you go. Voila. Excellent.
Oh, looks lovely. Still looking lovely.
Yeah, a picture of
Oh yeah, look at that. You can see cannelloni still.
So I've got 2 cannelloni out, which should be 1 portion, should it, Julie? So I'm going to try a little while it's still piping hot. We're gonna be eating soon. And you can see that the mozzarella is inside each cannelloni, and the bechamel sauce is separate, which is ideal.
Lovely.
I know. Okay.
I gave blood earlier, and the lady said, as they do, you need to have lots to eat and drink in the afternoon. And
Cannelloni.
I thought, oh, it's a shame. I'll force myself.
Excellent. It's really gorgeous. The crepes that I've made are considerably softer than pasta would be, and it's a lovely variation to the normal one. So if you do have the patience and the time, do make them. They're lovely, and also a little bit lighter, I think. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching if you watched until the end. Ciao ciao for now, and happy Valentine, and see you later. Bye.
I'll have another little look.
Yeah, you can try some.